park and the place would be up.
We went to a Chicago cover band at Symphony Hall, and we came out, there were 3 retirement buses. And
Yeah. Okay, we're good.
Guys ready?
Yeah.
May I have your attention? I'm going to call to order the meeting of the March 31st Lehigh Northampton Airport Authority. If everyone would please stand and face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So Vet, would you please call the roll?
Paul Anthony. Ann Baum.
Here.
Robert Brooks. Frank Facciano.
Here.
Ricky Gower.
Here.
Justin Grimshaw.
Here.
John Hayes.
Here.
James Irwin. Kevin Lott.
Here.
William
Here.
McGee.
Here.
Jeannie McNeil.
Here.
Glenn Reedman.
Present.
Kevin Surface.
Here.
Mike Stershik.
Here.
Jonathan Strauss.
Thank you. We have a quorum, and we have 2 new members, State Representative Jeannie McNeil and former Northampton County Councilman William McGee.
Thank you.
Welcome to the board.
Thank you.
Colin, public comment?
Okay, here we go. So this is from Charlie Smith. Board of Governors Public Comment, March 2026. As I checked the daily news of the air carriers at LBIA, I noticed that Delta Airlines has returned mainline jet service on 2 of 3 daily nonstop flights from ABE Atlanta, beginning in mid-June 2026. These flights will use the B717 twin-engine jets. Great news. Now, if we can get United or American to upgrade several of their flights to mainline aircraft, yes, I know Americans adding 2 daily ABE Chicago O'Hare flights on the Embry Air 8170 beginning in May of this year. I hope that with the merger of Allegiant Airlines with Sun Country Airlines, ABE will see even more nonstop destinations. Thank you, Charlie Smith.
Thank you. Sylvette, do we have any other public comment?
No, sir.
Okay, we will go to approval of the minutes of February 24th. I have a motion to approve the minutes. John, second by Mike. Are there any additions or corrections? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Treasurer's report, Frank?
What? Okay. That's my cue. Good afternoon, everyone. All right, we always start off with our traffic because that's what kind of drives the engine. Kind of see where we are through 2 months there, what's going on compared to last year. Overall, 3rd best on record. Just to give you an idea, we're about 147-ish, January and February. Last year, 149, which was the 2nd best. The best was 2004, which was 159,000. And the average for January and February is somewhere around 119,000. So when you think about that, we're doing pretty good. But obviously, you look at last year, you say, well, we're down a little bit. But last year was our 2nd best on record. And February's record is not in jeopardy for a while. I think it's over 80,000, which was set in 2004. So good stuff. But again, you got to keep it in perspective. 119 is our average. We're at 147, so that's pretty good.
Does 120 cancellations include bus?
Yes, it does. Yes, correct. We had a lot of cancellations, which obviously impacted our traffic, but as I said, we still ended up 3rd all time, both January and February, so pretty good.
Also, Todd, if you could, for the new board members, explain the bus traffic and why that number is down.
Oh, the bus traffic in September, we discontinued, or United discontinued the service to Newark. So that bus traffic is down, and whenever there's any kind of weather, the bus traffic is impacted, probably first. So we have a lot of we have 8, I believe, 8? 6, I'm sorry, daily. 6 daily. So if there's major weather, that's obviously going to impact a lot of bus trips back and forth.
Would you explain the convenience of the bus?
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
No, maybe they don't.
So one of the things that's nice about the bus is you check in here, You go through TSA here, they take you right up to the tarmac in Philadelphia. So you only have to deal with all the TSA issues. You're right here, you go through, and it's fantastic. So most of the folks that like it, it's fantastic because they don't have to deal with any of this stuff in Philly. Any other questions, concerns? I want to make sure I cover everything. I don't want the new folks to feel left out.
And just a real quick clarification. So I think we started out with 2 buses in 2023.
Yep, that sounds about, Tom can give you the exact.
About that, and we're up to 6 buses now, so that tells you the popularity they're out.
And also, since we're talking about bus, that doesn't get counted in our overall traffic with the FAA. They don't consider bus traffic,
Flight.
a real flight, so we're working.
Even though it is ticketed, it does clear security, et cetera.
Exactly.
It
So,
still doesn't count.
but we want all the traffic we can get, so we'll take bus, whatever, but ideally, aircraft traffic is number one, but we'll take bus traffic if we can get it.
Bus traffic is a common thing in transport now. For example, with Amtrak, you can get a bus in Allentown, 230th Street Station, as a ticketed passenger and continue on Amtrak. So we're not the only ones that are doing more bus.
And Tom will always say that was their shortest flight, American, between here to Philly. So it was just a matter of time before it made sense to just use a bus. Feel free to stop me along the way, as everybody else does, just to make sure you got questions. This is kind of a conversation, so we want to make sure everybody understands what's going on with our finances here.
Hey Todd, have we
Yes.
had issues with the bus traffic due to the TSA issues down in Philly and Newark? Has that impacted our bus traffic?
Helped.
People avoiding those 2 airports?
I'll let Tom answer that question.
We haven't really seen significant change, Jonathan, in the load factor on the American bus. I think that hasn't changed significantly, the ridership. So I don't have a correlation to draw based on that, but it doesn't appear based on the numbers that there's been a shift.
Got it, just curious. Thank you.
Sure.
And the other part of that is I think a lot of times folks would be better off to take the bus here because then they don't have to deal with any of the confusion in TSA in Philly. So you avoid that by getting the bus here. This is our last benchmarking that we have through February because of the shutdown. We kind of say we do this every month, kind of compare ourselves to our peers and all airports in general. This is the last one we have because of the shutdown. But for those that are new, you can kind of see throughput is actually what's going through the checkpoint. It does exclude the bus on the seats. The seats do exclude the bus. But you can kind of see the seats that are available and then what's actually going through the checkpoint. These are the numbers that kind of reflect our traffic, which is going through the checkpoint, and these are the available seats year over year. And again, these are our peers that we normally compare ourselves. Again, benchmark is only through February 7th because of the shutdown. And these are the 10 airports for the newer members that we use as kind of our benchmarking. We get updated benchmarking all the airports every month, but we also do a formal year-over-year benchmarking. Sometime around August, we get it for the previous year. And you can see there for the new folks there that our numbers here, you can see what's going on with peers, that our numbers are doing pretty well compared to the peer average, but you do have a few others and you can kind of see what's going on at the bottom with some of the expansion at Harrisburg, Spirit, and Latrobe. So those are kind of why they're up at the top. But all things considered, if the average is 0.1 and we're doing 9.5, we're doing pretty good. This is the month of February, where we are as far as net income, approximately 330,000 of net income. We had a budgeted of about 15. So all things considered, that's a pretty good month. Last year, our number was about 509. You can see our snow totals. That's always something that we kind of factor in early. That does impact our bottom line. We assume an average winter, but obviously every winter is a little different, and each event can tear things a little differently depending on how the snow comes down. This year we actually had to move snow, right, Steve? A few days later because it was just no place for people to park.
Because it didn't melt, right?
Yeah, it didn't melt. So, that's something that you don't really think about. And for us, snow removal is a big deal. If you think about parking garages, or your local mall, there's no overnight traffic, so they can clear off the lot. Not so at an airport, because people are usually parked overnight. So that's usually one of our challenges around this time. But all told, it's 2 months in. I don't get too excited because it's only 2 months in, but it's good to start the year off on a positive note. And this is where we are year to date, 405 versus a negative 209. And a lot of this, and you can see there are snow totals down there, calendar year 369 versus our full budget of 492 for the full year, full calendar year. If you go snow season, which started in December, it's pretty horrendous. It's over 700,000. But again, this is our budget for this year. We did ourselves a little bit of a favor by pre-ordering some supplies that actually got charged of last year's budget to help us out with some of the snow materials. But by all means, please feel free to ask questions you have. And we have some new board members. This is just talking about where the money comes from. You can kind of see our number one revenue source, number one profit center is parking. If you think about it from the perspective, that is the one place where folks pay us directly. That is the one place where they pay us directly. They do pay us a little bit on some of our ground handling, but where the passenger pays us directly, that is parking. And you get with non-aviation lease, advertising. Down at the bottom, you can see airfield and terminal really reflective of the subsidies we have to give them to keep our rates competitive.
So just clarification point on parking. When we build the parking debt, will the debt service on the deck be deducted from the income?
It won't be the debt service, but it would be the interest on there. Or
The interest, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Okay.
Then breaking down the biggest budget variances, aviation services, and we have employee benefits. We had a lot of hours, but we didn't have as many full-time employees as we had benefit. So that's what helped us out on the employee benefits. Interest is our assumptions there. The icing is what we do to kind of de-ice the planes. And even though we have to spend some money on some of the costs, we do get some revenue with the de-icing. Not quite apples to apples, but we get some money back. And salaries there, you kind of see the biggest variances. And again, this is early. Some of those budget variances are because we try to be somewhat conservative because there's always some stuff unforeseen. We budget for a lot of our folks earlier in the year. So if we don't hire them right away, there is some variances. Now you're starting to see a lot of those variances go away because we don't have as many unfilled employees as we had maybe early on in COVID when we were trying to get back up to full staffing. Now we're pretty close to that number. Just kind of breaking down the numbers for February. These are year to date, just kind of seeing where we are year over year, and then coming to comparisons. Again, it's 2 months in. Don't get too excited, but always nice that the numbers are positive. And this is our cash, which we really monitor pretty regularly. That 2024 is the pure average, the last pure average we have of those 10 airports that we talked about earlier. And then you can kind of see 2023. Once we get to 2025, we will update that. But the ebbs and flows of our cash really are reflective of our capital projects. Most of our cash fluctuations are really reflective of what we're doing on the capital side. Operating budgets are usually a little bit more predictable. Capital, not so much. Any questions?
Focus on days cash on hand for 1 second. That is a metric that we track very closely. In the dark days when this board was a train wreck, to be kind, we were down to 3 days cash on hand at one point.
I thought it was 2, but who's counting?
It was 3, right, Tom?
It was 3.
Yeah. That's
Okay, all right. How about we call it 2.5?
Yeah, the stories out of the boardroom back in those days were legendary. And the result of that was significant impact on the financial performance of the organization and the financial status of the organization. So since those days, this predates me on the board, and I've been here over 9 years. This has been a metric that we track very, very carefully because nothing guards against risk like cash. It's very simple.
Couldn't say it better.
Yeah.
Again, if you go back, and part of it is, to John's point, is it takes a long time to build up the cash. So, we've gotten to this point, we were actually.
It can go quickly if you're not careful.
Yes, and especially when there's no more CARES grants, but who's counting that? But we were strategic in how we used our CARES, and actually our cash reserves have went up since COVID, and we took advantage of that because we recovered a little faster and we were able to kind of get a little bit more cash on hand than we would otherwise had that opportunity not presented itself. I don't want to go too fast. Any questions?
What are the CARES?
Those were the COVID grants.
Oh, okay.
And normally we don't get operational grants. That was the first time since I've been here, long time that we get any operational grants. Most of our grants are for infrastructure, either federal or state. So this was unique when we got it for CARES because that actually was operational grants.
Okay, for different terms depending on where the funding went. So CARES is the first I've heard.
How much total CARES did we get?
It's about 19.8, I believe.
Million.
Yeah, 19.8 million that we got in CARES for approximately around there, over that span. And we strategically used it over this total span. We had some early conversations about some airports were using it early, and we didn't want to do that because ultimately we wanted to make sure it was best used for the airport, not for other folks. We want to make sure the airports get the most benefit out of it. Any questions, any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you. Motion to accept the report.
So moved.
John,
I'll second it. Give it to Mike. He was a little
Mike.
quicker than me.
all in favor to accept?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Okay, next, the executive committee, the nominating slate, we will announce that at the April 23rd committee meetings next month. So the slate is basically complete, and I'll unveil it on April 23rd.
Are you the chair, Glenn?
I'm the chair. Because I go to past chair after next month. Director's report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. We heard from Todd, some cancellations affecting traffic a little bit in February, 57 total cancellations in February versus 29 last February. So significant change there. We're still working on trying to get data nationally, again, with TSA shut down, still working in a data deficit. But locally, I can tell you that our throughput through the checkpoint here is down about 3% over last March. So March over March, we're down about 3% right now. Charlie Smith had some good updates for us. The one item he didn't have on his list was United is adding a fourth daily trip to Chicago starting April 30th. So beginning April 30th, we'll have a fourth daily trip as well.
For those at the table who don't know Charlie, he will get to be a name that you know. He pays attention in a good way.
He does.
Yep, very much. He's a good guy.
What's his job? What's his position?
Who, Charlie?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who does he work for? Us?
Oh, no.
No,
He's
he's,
general public.
I don't know.
He was the public
Just-
comment today.
Public comment?
Oh, thank you.
There you go. That's okay. Let's see, since our last regular board meeting back on February 24th, let's see, March 5th, we participated in a STEAM Expo at Springhouse Middle School for Parkland School District. March 11th, we attended the Freedom High School Career Fair over in Bethlehem. March 19th, we held a Fill the Bus event, and that was to collect donations for our TSA employees who were not being paid at the time. We definitely want to thank the community. There was a lot of strong support in those donations. We filled 20 different carts. And when we were running that event, we did get word yesterday that based on some pay that the TSA agents are receiving, they are no longer accepting donations. So if people are asking, we're not allowed to provide donations to TSA at this point. March 20th, we attended the Bethlehem Catholic High School Career Fair, so another career fair. March 21st, Saturday, we hosted the Blind Association of Lehigh Valley and Sites for Hope for a demonstration of Good Maps, which is a indoor navigation platform that we use that's multilingual, but also great for visual impairment. And we're actually the first airport in the state to have that navigational tool here. March 25th, we attended Bavit's Votech Career and College Fair. And then in terms of upcoming events, April 7th, we're hosting Catasauqua Area School District for a tour at ABE. April 20th through the 24th is Volunteer Appreciation Week, and we're recognizing our 65 volunteers that support our various programs. April 21st, we're hosting the Chamber of Commerce Whitehall chapter for an airport tour. So I think we'll be working through a great program for that. And April 21st through the 26th, we're full. TSA PreCheck open enrollment is all filled.
Wow.
So once again. So last but not least, April 23rd will be our next set of committee meetings. The Finance Committee that day will start at 9 a.m. instead of 9:30. And that's in order to cover the topic of pension update. So we'll be making sure to put that on your calendar as well. So that concludes my report, Mr. Chair. Happy to answer questions.
Any questions?
I just have one. When you go to the tech schools or the high schools for career fairs, you get a lot of kids that come up that are actually interested in what you have to offer?
I think what happens is the kids are actually surprised at what there is to offer here, because I think a lot of folks, unlike other types of businesses, an airport can be somewhat of a mystery because you don't get to see a lot behind the scenes. So when people we have nice handouts that list all of the career opportunities at an airport, and people usually are really surprised to find out all the different types of trade work and other things that are here that they would not have considered
Not
otherwise.
just pilots.
Exactly. Yeah, pilot, you're a controller, you're a TSA screener.
Okay.
But the sort of the positions, a lot of the positions behind the scenes that people don't even think about are the ones that really are exciting for folks. So I think it's great to be able to.
I think it's awesome that you go. I was just wondering how, I try to put myself in a 17-year-old shoes, and if you would have put me around a career fair, I would have been like on work release. Can you please sign this so my teacher doesn't give me a problem? Right, like, so, and that's some of the experiences that I've had in the past on the career side of the table, right?
Yeah. And, Colin, I don't know if there's anything you wanted to add to that, but I think that's really been our experience working with the different school districts.
Yeah, I would just say that the aviation education program has really grown over the last 2 years. We've spent a lot of time. The amount of school districts we're working through throughout the valley, and I think it's spreading, and it's a mix. It's the Carrottstock area, high school, and then you talk about technical. And what we've noticed is that when students come to the table, some do. Like, for example, we were at one the other day, and somebody came right up to the table and said, "I'm going to be an aviation mechanic." Like, so it was right away, that was the response.
Yeah.
But I think also the fact that we're engaging the school districts to come to the airport. And when we do that, it's not pilot control. Yeah, we'll get them to the tower if that's what they're interested in. But sometimes when it's the technical schools, it's let's get them over to maintenance and talk about that. So we try to tailor it to the district. So we have the teachers or administrator ask, where's the interest? We had some that just, their Catasauqua actually was interesting because when they come, there is a pilot, but it's aviation mechanic and it's engineering. So we're bringing in Ryan and the group and the people that work around the airfield to understand that piece of it. So we're trying to zero it in. But yes, you have some that are just, I stop by the table, but then there are some that surprise you and have something. And then even if they learn a trade, they're like, oh, I didn't know you guys do that at the airport. I'm like, yes, that's in-house. So it's a mix, but I think it's growing and there really is a focus to try to find that next generation. So that's why I know it can seem like we're doing a lot when it comes to the getting out. Like each director's report has 4 or 5 different.
I think that part's
great.
personally.
That's where the focus is going to continue. Paula Bonstein, Leanne Hill, Allison Hyde, they go out to these schools and we never turn it down. And everything sort of evolves from that point.
Awesome. Yeah, I was just more wondering what the return was.
Yeah, and we've had kids actually on one-offs that will meet at a fair and they'll want to come in, shadow somebody, talk to somebody here. And I think if you can just, who knows, but if you can build on that a little bit.
That's great.
Yeah, so.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I know you don't run TSA, but how did we fare?
We did
lose any?
We did well. I don't know that we have any official stats in terms of employment that they can share with us. But we're staffed well. We usually fare these pretty well. And I think the regional airports typically do a little better. But I also think one of the things that we try to do here is we really do try to support the employees beyond the fill the bus. I think there's been a lot of donations from the community to provide food, to provide gift cards. You know, I know we've done that as well. So I think just things that we do internally and then externally to try to support them, I think is appreciated, and you know, it helps. Certainly isn't a substitute for a paycheck.
And a half dozen friends of mine flew out of here the last couple of weeks, and they were very happy we have a bar over in the gate area because they got through one heck of a lot more quickly than they thought they were going to.
Okay.
Yeah, so I didn't talk to anyone who was unhappy.
That's a good problem to have.
Absolutely.
Draft test. Any other questions for Tom? Seeing none, we'll go to our solicitor for her report.
Mr. Chair. Just a reminder, your statements of financial interest and signing our conflicts policy, it's due by May 1st. So please get that in. If you have any questions about where to find it, who to turn it into, you can see me or Sylvette.
You guys get one?
I turned in my financial.
Yeah, you have to do it also, like anyways.
Yeah, I wasn't on this board last year, but I am on the Pennsylvania Friendship Council, so I turned it in for them.
Okay, right, it is retro. It looks
Yeah.
back to the prior year, that's correct. So, and then the procurement process for the parking garage will be getting underway, as you know, next few months, and our office is providing assistance as needed with that. Other things, just leasing, some collections matters. There was an advertising client that just a little letter, a little nudge got them to pay a balance. I mean, small money we're talking about, but that helps maintain the relationships that the airport has with advertisers and vendors, concessionaires, that sort of thing. And then fun fact, I applied for a trademark for the airport's logo, and that process takes many months, but it's the logo itself has been in use, so there is some common law trademark protection there, but now we're gonna go for that registered, the R in a circle. Again, that's a little bit of a long process, but thought you'd want to be aware. And we're looking at some other trademarks that the airport may want to protect, and we'll be working on that in the coming months.
Is there any update on the egregious stormwater
I was
tax?
just gonna ask that question.
At this time, no news is
No
bad
news.
news, like there's no news.
And we paid in how much? 78, 75 a year?
Done that for
70,
at least
yeah.
3 years now.
It's more than
I
that.
think it's,
Do you know about that
I
one?
think it's 370, something like that.
370 grand.
Yeah, somewhere
We
around that.
stand to get.
Jeannie, do you know the background on that?
No.
Long story short, stormwater runoff, Allentown passed what they call a stormwater fee to allocate for stormwater handling into the sewer system. We're a nonprofit, we're exempt from those types of taxes. We took the position that it was a tax. So it was litigated in Allentown. That litigation was stayed because the same issue was being litigated down in Chester County. And anything that happens in our case, our Court of Appeal would go to the court that's handling the Chester County case. So we have continued to pay the annual fee, and this is for Queen City. It doesn't cover this airport. This is Queen City only. It's $75,000 a year-ish. And we paid probably 77 or 78, and we paid that for 6 or 7 years.
Yes.
This goes back to when Matt Turk was board chair, before he became mayor.
And he didn't call it an egregious stormwater tax.
He did until he became mayor.
He wanted it back then.
So it's been paid
Yeah, so that
under
is,
protest.
I think we're on strong footing on that, but we'll see.
So there's a chance you might get it,
There's a
get the money
chance.
back.
Yep.
Right, and so the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania is deciding the case and just hasn't issued its decision yet. It was argued, I think, going on a year and a half ago. It's been quite some time. And we're just waiting on that decision, and we'll control what happens with the Queen City litigation.
And I feel bad for Allentown because the stormwater that's creating the issue is coming off of Allentown streets more than anything else. And they're looking for somebody to lay that cost off on. So that's the path that they've chosen, so.
And this is happening in municipalities
Yeah, we're not
across
alone.
the country.
If it's 78 grand for Queen City only, I can't even imagine what the ticket is or would be for this property.
Bethlehem's not doing anything like this.
Sure. Yeah,
That's good.
but,
Does
yeah.
it go up every year? The fee?
It's been stagnant, I
It's been pretty
think.
static.
It's been stagnant, but the issue is even if you discharge nothing off your property, everything stays. You only get 50% mitigation for the tax. So that's the linchpin that to me, it's a tax, not a fee, because even if you discharge nothing into the system, you still have to pay.
And we do mitigate it well at Queen City.
Yeah. Yeah, so this has been going around for a long time.
Anything else?
Not from me, if there's any other questions.
And Elizabeth has indicated to me that we won't need an executive session today, so I will go. Does anyone have new business?
So I'm not sure where it should come up under. I just, one of the PLA report was sent to Savette, and I'm not sure if that was sent to Elizabeth for
I did,
her
yeah.
vetting or what before it comes
It
out.
is, it's in her right.
Yeah, so what I would like to do is just summarize some of the information, then you'll get the memo that was, it's based
I
on
just
a
wanted to make sure
study
it got
from-
passed on and everybody knows it was sent out.
Yes,
I just didn't know what part of
yeah,
the.
so you'll get the materials and then my summary.
Fair enough.
Okay, no executive session, no new business. A motion for adjournment.
I'll make that.
Second.
We are adjourned.
Well done.
Go Phils.
Yeah.
Got a baseball. Teach him how to hit.